Hello, hello, hello. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Monday. Do. Let's see what is going on the news. Do. Let's see what is going on in the news. I think what's very interesting that's going on the news is over the weekend, Elon and his team sending out those letters to the government workers. That's I think that's super interesting. The letters going out asking what you did last weekend to the federal workers is amazing. Because like if you think about it, right? It goes out during the weekend, off hours, right? You're not at work. You get an email is asking you, "What did you do last weekend?" And if you don't reply, you're gonna get fired. That's crazy. Like any other job, right? You get an email when you're not at work. You're not answering emails. Hi there. So yeah, I'm just sitting in my car and thinking about the news going on right now. And the thing that's on my mind is the peace from Brazil. Okay, sorry, off topic now since you're in Brazil. A lot of my friends in Brazil, it seems like they're allergic to shirts, like clothes. Is it like super hot over there? You know what I mean? Where every time I see pictures of my friends in Brazil, they never have clothes on. George Robert, I love the Fenny. Whoa. Everyone loves their own thing, George. um, but yeah, back to the email thing. That's Imagine you get an email asking you what you did last week, and if you don't answer, you're gonna get fired, right? Like, oh, okay. I look like a dude that sells it. Maybe. Imagine if it. Okay, imagine if you're on like the internet and you see some guy and you're like, that guy looks like my dealer. Um, are you my father? Maybe. Yes, I knew it. Yeah, everyone I know from Brazil, they're like allergic to shirts or clothes. Um, but I was thinking about the Elon thing, and imagine if you're like like a military operator, right? And it's like, what did you do last week? I took out like 5 guys. What fast food should I eat right now? Well, it depends where you are. Like, right? Are you in East Coast or West Coast? Because if you're in the East Coast, what are, falafels? I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about East Coast. If you're in the West Coast, In-N-Out hamburger is the best. Am I Filipino? No, I'm not Filipino. I'm just dark for being Vietnamese. Let's see here. But yeah, like if especially if the email comes during when you're not at work, that's where's your hat? I'm sorry, I don't wear hats. Try not to go bald. um oh, that's just insane. I think the deadline to reply was today, so let's see what happens. I was talking to a guy earlier and he said that he got the email and he just like wrote very vague stuff because they're saying that they don't want classified information. But like, I thought half the government's doing classified stuff. Sorry, I got a text message, so you're gonna see my fingers. Connected, reconnected. I know you see me stopping you. Oh, thank you. Maybe that's the secret, huh? Is that the secret to getting more hair? I don't know. I just feel like I am getting old. Maybe I need to go to Turkey. You know what? I did tell my wife that she was pretty today, and she was super happy. You should definitely do that every day. Oh. But you know, okay, there's this guy in the chat and he's talking about eating dogs, and I'm like, is that really a thing? Like, because I grew up here. It's like it's like me seeing like somebody and be like, "Hey, did you eat some rocky oysters today?" You know, like, did you do that? Did you eat the rocky oysters? Like, what are we doing here? You know, it doesn't bother me because no, yeah, it doesn't really bother me because I grew up in this environment, so it doesn't really like faze me at all. What I was always told is anyone that doesn't know anything about another culture just means that they haven't seen the world. Because at the end of the day, like, how can you really like hate somebody if you know about them? Like, if you eat their food or tried it out or whatever, like, learn a little bit about the culture. Everyone's got something interesting. But yeah, stuff like that. I just feel sad for those kind of people because that just means that they've never traveled anywhere. You know, like, how do you go to let's say Japan and just be like, you know what? I'm not gonna try the sushi. I'm gonna have a hamburger. You gotta eat some Japanese food, right? And if you eat some Japanese food, right, you're gonna be like, you know what? It's not that bad. Maybe the people aren't that bad. Um, yeah, that's the main thing that's in the news right now. All the Doge stuff. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Hello, pantry snatcher. Oh, panty snatcher. Oh, from Germany. Be like Tiger Woods. Oh, you know what? Tiger Woods, when I was growing up, he was the closest thing that we had to like a Asian celebrity, even though he's only like half. My favorite skit is always that that Dave Chappelle skit where they're drafting the the different people from different cultures, and then they got Tiger Woods, and they're like, we claim him. Oh, that's one of my best, like, favorite skits. Um, oh, I speaking of Chinese food, I had Chinese food yesterday. It was really good. But right now I'm right outside a In-N-Out Burger, and I'm not gonna lie, In-N-Out sounds good right now. But yeah, I want to know what you guys do last week because that's the question that's on the internet right now. What everyone do last week? Because if you don't reply, you're gonna get fired. Imagine, okay, you get that email about the what did you do last week, and you're just like, I answered emails, and I entered the data entry. I did some data entry, answered some emails, made some phone calls because they were like, we wanted. They don't want you to release any like classified information. You know? Like, what are you supposed to say? Imagine you're like in some kind of like co-op operation out there and you're like, I talked to some people, but like but what you really did was you got rid of them. Or you're just like, I got rid of some people that were in my way. Oh, that's insane. Let's see. What else is in the news right now? Do do do. Ooh, I think someone's. Okay, I wish I could show you my other side of my screen, but some lady's having a really hard time getting into her car. Oh, planes crashing everywhere. I, if you guys saw some of my other ones, I've talked a lot about this earlier about the planes crashing and how insane is it that planes are going down and the response is to get rid of more um, government like FAA like workers, you know? What race am I? I'm Vietnamese, by the way, you know? But that's insane. Like planes are going down and you know what? Let's get rid of some more workers. But okay, the thing that I thought was really interesting about the planes going down is supposedly that newest one that they went down in Toronto is a female pilot, and I was thinking to myself like, oh my gosh, like she must be feeling the weight of the world right now because there's all that DEI stuff and she's a like a female pilot um and she crashes a plane and it's just that it's like the worst case scenario. It's like every time you see like a mass like shooting situation. I don't know what race you guys are, but me personally, every single time when I see one of those, I'm like, please, don't be Asian, don't be Asian, don't be Asian. And they're like, oh, whew. Like, it's one of those things where like, oh, she must be feeling the weight of the world right now. Am I in the military? No, I'm not in the military, but I grew up with a lot of military people. I got a lot of military buddies around here, you know? Oh, but oh my gosh. So that's the main thing I'm thinking about the plane crashes right now. Let's they're getting rid of more flight people. So it's like one plane goes down, they get rid of some more workers, and then they're like another plane goes down, right? Oh, am I in Cali? Yes, I'm in California. Wait, turn around. It says it's literally Lucky Mark. You got my. Okay, you got your papers. You know what's funny about that? I guess you don't know any history about like Vietnamese, Mr. Chanozad, but most of us, almost all of us, actually have our papers. You know, like yeah, do a little lesson from history, dude. Like we're here because of the Vietnam War. Like there's like Vietnamese people all over. Like we're all legal. That's why I'm not like, what are you talking about, dude? Um, yeah, that's funny. Like it, I don't even know what to say that because it's like you gotta read history books, my friend. Like we're all here. It, like I would understand if maybe if I was a different like ethnicity, I would feel a little bit different. But growing up Vietnamese here in America, it's like we've all been here forever. And the refugee system, like the immigration system was completely different. We were brought here. Oh, but you got me thinking about the end of the war, like how I was told the story of like how my family, we all split up three different ways. Some of us went to America, some of us went to Australia, and then some of us went to Norway. And I've told this story before, but my Norwegian cousins, oh my gosh, they make fun of us all the time. And I remember when they came over to visit, and I was little, and I didn't know anything about Norway. When I think about Norway, I'm thinking about like Sweden, like snowy, desolate, like in the mountains. You're like from some village. I'm in America, dude. We've got like McDonald's, we got Jordan, like we have sports, we have all kinds of cool things. I'm in America. And this they come over from Norway, right? And I've had family come over before from other countries, and I'm gonna be honest, they don't have anything. So like, like we're buying them stuff because our money is just worth more. American dollars, y'all. Right? But my Norwegian cousins come over, and the first thing they said to me or my family was, "Let's go shopping." And I'm like, "Really? You want to go shopping? We're in America, buddy. Like American dollars. Do you know what that is? We're number one." And they go to the mall, right? And they're looking at prices and stuff, and they're like, everything is so cheap. They go on a major buying spree. And that's when I learned that in Norway, and this was in the early 90s, right? They said that their McDonald's minimum wage, if you convert it to American dollars, so imagine McDonald's, minimum wage, the lowest that you can possibly go in Norway in the 90s, by the way, in the 90s, was $21 an hour. In the 90s. So they come over and they're like, everything is so cheap. They're buying TVs and VCRs and all kinds of clothes. They're buying everything. They're buying me stuff. They're like going through my house, and they're like, "Oh, you guys need new washers and dryers. You guys need this." And we're like, and they're here for a long time. The In Norway, they get like vacations every year. It's mandatory. Mandatory vacation. You're not allowed to work. You have to take a vacation at some point throughout the year. And they chose to come here, and it's a whole month. So they were here for a whole month, and they said that you guys need new appliances. So they bought all kinds of new stuff for us. Um, oh, I'll answer. Oh, which country is my favorite after I finished the Norway thing, and and we're like, you guys can't bring all this stuff back, but like you bought a new TV, you bought VCRs, and they're like, oh, just keep it. It's pennies. It was pennies to them, and I was like, this is insane. So this is going back to like when you travel, you learn about different things because it kind of blew my mind that like I growing up, especially in the 90s, right? America is number one. There's no joke about that. If you're like an 80s, 90s kid, like everything was top notch. And so that blew my mind back then. I'm like, what? $21 an hour for minimum wage in the early 90s? Do you remember what minimum wage was in the early 90s? It was $7.20 or somewhere around there in California. Now in some other states it was like $5 back then. So they even their lowest workers were like four times. That's insane. Which Oh, so going back, which country have I traveled to? I've been to a lot of the Asian countries. I've been to Thailand, Hong Kong, China a few times, Australia. I went to Norway one time, and of course Canada, Mexico. Which one's my favorite? I would have to say, I'm trying to think, if you're like a foodie, I feel like Australia is really cool for food. They have the best food there. If you're into like play, like nightlife, I would say Vietnam's like interesting for nightlife. If you wanted to do that, have that whole be in that kind of scene, Vietnam's great for nightlife. If you wanted to like, I want to say like learn some stuff and really open your eyes, I would say visit China because like we're in this whole thing with China right now. And to be honest, like we're in it with right now with China. We're like definitely in some kind of cold war with them. It's nice to just kind of see and get some perspective. Because when you go over there and you like talk to them, they're like you see the propaganda. Like that's the most interesting thing, I think. When you go to China, you feel the propaganda. And in a way, I don't know, like if you want to like go at them with the propaganda or you just want to like just bite your tongue and just let it go. But yeah, I think that's the main thing. You feel the propaganda. Unless you talk to someone and really get to know them, they'll let loose a little bit and they'll talk about the wealth gap. If you feel like the wealth gap in America is big, the wealth gap in China is even bigger. Um, the ones that like the Chinese people that you see here in America, they've made it because they have enough to get over here. And a lot of times they have for them to get their money over here, they'd have to do all kinds of, stuff. But if you go over there, it's a whole different level because you have the big bosses that own like the factories and stuff, and they're the ones that have the money. And then you have a gajillion worker bees. And the ones that you see here, they've done something at some point. Like, I have this thing where nobody makes it to the next level without doing something shady at some point. Maybe someone in their family did something shady at some point. And yeah, you just the wealth gap over there is huge though. That's for sure because you have people that you see them, they're in designer clothes and they're in like high-end cars and and then you got people that are living like 20 people per room, like the worker bees, making like equivalent to like $500 a day. Oh no, I'm sorry, $500 like a month or so. If you have to like translate how much money that they make. Now, I'm not talking about like full on factory workers. I'm just talking about normal-ish working people. They probably make like 1,000 a month, somewhere around there. But then you have like management and upper like factory like execs. They'll their little tiny like condo or whatever, right? It's like millions of dollars and it's like a tiny little place. But yeah. Let's see what else is going on in the world. I was talking about this earlier, and I thought this is super interesting. Um, is the Puff Daddy's lawyer resigns, right? One of his lawyers. He's got multiple lawyers, right? Oh, what city am I in right now? I'm in California. But Puff Daddy's lawyer, one of them, he resigns, and if you look into him, he is a defense attorney that for Osama bin Laden. Like, how crazy is that? That like you're, I just can't get over because I talked about this earlier, but I'm like, this guy represented Osama bin Laden, and he's on Diddy's defense team, and resigns. And we don't know why he resigned, but usually lawyers resign when they, or for two reasons. One, they feel like it's a losing case and they don't want to tarnish their reputation because it's not good to be in a high profile losing case, right? Or two, they have a difficult client. That, let's say if you gave them some advice, right? Which part, like city, like what part of Cali? Like SoCal, like near Disney, like Disneyland-ish area around there, SoCal. Um, yeah, if you have a difficult client to work with, and Diddy was obviously a difficult client because he was like trying to like contact people with like with their phones and stuff and trying to intimidate witnesses and stuff. Oh, awesome. You're an OC. I feel like we got super lucky with the fires. um I I've lived through like probably like 4 fires now being in California, so I feel like I'm used to it now. I remember telling everyone because everyone was freaking out about the fires, and I'm like, I've been through this before. I remember the fires got so close at one point. I remember when I was growing up and I was in high school, um, I could see the fire from my window coming to our house, and and this was during finals week in high school. And I remember if it goes a little bit more, it's gonna hit my school, and if it hits my school's gonna be canceled. So I was like, please come a little bit more because I didn't want to study for my finals. And just my luck, the fire stops one street. I mean, like not even one street. The other side of the street, the fire was where the fire is, and it stops right there. They stop it right at my school, and we go to school the next day. It like burned through the hills and stopped right there, and we were in the school the next day taking our finals, and I remember ash falling down from the sky. And I've said this before, but like we were able to pick up the ash, crumple it up into a ball, and start throwing it at each other as ash balls when we were kids. Like, and I was thinking about it right now because you kind of brought it up, but like I remember like they canceled all the schools here, but like that's what we were doing. The fire was right there, and we were like, woo! Oh, I remember neighbors on the roof watering down their house, their rooftops. I learned this today though, and this is just future knowledge for all you guys out there if you're ever in that situation. The main thing, I was talking to a friend of mine. She works in construction, but like planning, like architectural stuff. And she was saying the main cause of a fire of a house is not the ember falling, getting onto the roof, right? She said the main thing that causes the fire is actually the ember going through like your air system, getting inside and lighting up the insulation, sorry, insulin, oh my gosh, uh on the inside of your house. That's how the fire starts inside. Like, and once that goes up, you can't stop it. So like I never thought about that before. I always thought that the fire embers land on your roof and starts burning. And I'm looking at the roofs. I'm like, really? Why don't they just make that thing out of something that's not flammable and we're all good? But no. If you look throughout your house, there's at some point there's a vent, right? Like system or something into the attic or something. There's ventilation, and the embers go into that and light up the insulation inside your house through inside the walls there. Because I at least in my house, and when I go up into the attic area, I see the installation. So I'm like, oh, it clicked. So yeah, that's how the fire starts. So if you're ever in that situation where the fires are coming, of course, water down your hose, water down your roof, but look around your house and see if there's any vents and maybe cover those up. And maybe that'll save your house. I just thought that was interesting. So if you guys stay, see you guys a little bit later.